everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brittany of BrittanyJJones.com. I'm really excited about today because it's another Sew With Me video, and today we're going to be using Simplicity 8415. We're going to be sewing view A in this video. I really love this dress. It's really simple, but the sleeves are what really makes it special, and that's why I love it. I'm all for a split sleeve. So when I saw this pattern, I knew I was going to be making view A from it. So as far as notion goes for this pattern, you will need one 22-inch invisible zipper and of course your matching thread. Now some of the fabric suggestions that you will need or that you could search for or find for this dress could be cotton types, some crepe, some linen, some silky types, some stretch wovens. In my case, with my dress, I made my dress out of a Rayon Challis that I got from LA Fabrics, and I love it. I especially love the way it feels. It's really soft, but the drape of it is really nice too, and I think it works really great for this dress. So again, this fabric is a Rayon Challis, and I got it from LA Fabrics. So once you have all of your pattern pieces cut out, we can get started.
All right, everybody, so the first step to sewing our dress is stay stitching. I decided this time to do something a little bit differently and show you on the directions as we go along. It'll be a little bit easier for you to follow, but always make sure that you stay stitch and follow the way they have the arrows on your guide. So go ahead and put your stay stitching in for your front and back piece. After you have your stay stitching like I have here, then we're going to go ahead and move right along to step 2. Step 2 is going to be putting our darts in our front piece, and make sure that you read along there because it has a tip for you to prevent a bubble at the end of your dart legs. You are to tie a knot instead of back stitching. So if you're new to sewing, definitely make sure that you read that. And as you can see here, I already have my darts pinned, and now I'm going to go ahead and sew them down right now. After you have your darts pinned, go ahead and press them down facing toward the hem of your dress, and then we can go ahead and move that over to the side and grab our 2 back pieces. Now I want you to go ahead and grab your 22-inch zipper. Go ahead and press it out a little bit just to kind of get some of those bumps out of it, and then we can start to install it into our dress. This step is step 3, 4, and 5. It's a couple steps, so definitely make sure that you read. I'm going to do mine a little bit differently than the directions. I am going to go ahead and baste my back pieces together and then install instead of installing a zipper and then closing up my back. So right here, I went ahead and I pinned, and I'm going to do my regular stitch from the bottom, my hem up into my notch. Once I get to my notch, then I'm going to baste all the way up to the top of my dress because I'm going to take that basting stitch out to put my zipper in. So regular stitch up toward the notch from the hem to the notch, and then basting stitch from there to the top. So as you can see, I went ahead and I finished off my edges. I gave everything a good press. I'm going to go ahead and pin my zipper to my seam allowance. Over in step 3, it tells you to make sure that your zipper stop is about 3/4 of an inch down. We do have to install a facing, so keep that in mind. And then you want to just go ahead and pin your zipper tape to your seam allowance. Only this is an invisible zipper, so we're not pinning through the dress, only to the seam allowance. So go ahead and do that for the remainder of the zipper. And then once you have it pinned, I'm going to baste mine in place. So now that it's basted, I'm going to go ahead and grab my seam ripper, and I'm going to open up my basting stitch. Once you have your basting stitch removed, then you want to go ahead and take out any loose threads that you may have, and then we're going to go back with our regular stitch, our 2.5, and we're going to stitch right in the groove of our zipper, right beside those zipper teeth. So once you have your zipper all in, nice and clean and invisible, then we're going to move right on over to step 6, and we're going to stitch our shoulders together right sides facing. So go ahead and put your pieces right side facing. You want to start pinning at your notch first, and then go ahead and pin your shoulder seams together. Once you have them pinned, you can go ahead and sew your shoulder seams, and then go ahead and finish off your edges like I have here. The next step for us to do is to go ahead and grab our facing pieces. You should have front facing as well as your back facing, and then you should have the same pieces cut out in interfacing. Go ahead and apply your interfacing to both pieces. And then if you take a look at step 7, once you have the interfacing applied, you want to sew them together at the shoulder seams, and then you want to go ahead and finish off that curved edge of your facing. So go ahead and do that right now. So right here, you can see that I have finished off my facing piece. I used my serger to finish off mine. So with right sides together, you want to make sure that you turn your zipper out so that you can see that raw edge. Line up the raw edge with the facing raw edge, and then you're going to start pinning the facing all the way around your neck edge, right sides facing. So go ahead and do that. Match up your notches, match up your seam lines, and go ahead and pin. So once you have it pinned and sewn, on step 9, it wants you also to go ahead and sew down that facing to the zipper tape. And on step 10, it wants you to do some understitching. So go ahead and do all those steps for the facing. Here's an up close of my understitching. Don't forget to do that. It's really important. It helps the facing just to fold in really nicely on the neckline. So go ahead and do those steps. And then the last step, it wants you to just tack down your facing onto your seam allowance only. Don't tack down your dress. Seam allowance only. Just tack it down to keep your facing from rolling out while you wear it. Okay, we are moving right along. We are on step 12, and now we need to sew our side seams together, our front and back. So lay your pieces right sides together, and we can go ahead and pin at our notches, and then go ahead and sew both of your side seams down. Once your side seam is done, make sure that you finish off your edges and give it a good press. Then we can go ahead and move our dress to the side for a little bit and grab your sleeve pieces, piece number 6 and piece number 5. And here are my 2 sleeve pieces, my piece 6 and my piece 5 and 6. So first thing I'm going to do before I start to pin together is I'm going to go ahead and finish off those inner seam lines because I know that I'm just going to be sewing to the dot. And then I don't want raw edges, so I'm going to go ahead and serge those down. As you can see, I've done that here. And then I've pinned to the dot because that's where we're going to sew down to. We need that opening. So go ahead and pin to your dot. And then I'm going to finish off the other side seams after I have those sewn down. But, you know, the preference is yours. You can serge now or serge later. I just like to serge before. So anyway, go ahead and sew your sleeve. This right here is my finished sleeve. And after I sewed down to the dot, I went ahead and pressed out the remainder 5/8 of an inch. And then I folded in the raw edge, which was about 1/4. I folded that in and I sewed right on the edge. Then I squared it off at the top, and then I sewed down the remainder side of the sleeve. So again, you're going to fold in that raw edge, sew up, sew across, and then sew all the way down the remainder of the sleeve. So go ahead and do both of your sleeves the exact same way. So now that you have both of your sleeves finished, now we can go ahead and set those off to the side and go ahead and grab your ties. So what you want to do here is fold the right sides together, and on the long edge, you're going to sew 1/4 of an inch. And on the short edge that is unmarked, you're going to sew 3/8 of an inch. The side that is marked with a dot, you want to leave that open because we need to flip that out. So again, on the long edge, 1/4 of an inch, and on the short unmarked edge, 3/8 of an inch. So go ahead and get your ties sewn down. And just so we can keep up together, we are over on step 15. And make sure that you read that if you're a beginner. It has tips on how you can flip it out with a needle, or you can use a loop turner if you have one. Honestly, I just used a pencil and it got the job done. So whatever you have, go ahead and sew your ties and flip them right side out. Give them a good press, as you can see I've done here. And then what you want to do is go ahead and grab your cuffs. You should have cut out 4 cuffs. 2 of them are interfaced, 2 of them are not. So for the 2 that are interfaced, go ahead and grab those. And you want to go ahead and grab your ties that are the raw edge, not the part that you closed up, the one that you left open. Go ahead and match those dots and then line up the raw edge like I'm doing here. Go ahead and pin because we will baste those in place in just a moment. Go ahead and grab your other one. Go ahead and grab your other one and match that dot up as well. As you can see here, the first one I did is up a little bit too high, so I need to adjust that. Keep in mind, you don't want to up too high. Make sure that you line up the dot exactly because we do need to sew the cuff onto the sleeve, and you don't want your tie to get caught in that. So go ahead and do the same thing for the other cuff like I'm doing here. Line up your dots, your raw edge, go ahead and pin in place. And then once you have it pinned, you want to go ahead and baste them down like I have here. Step so that we're all together. We just finished up step 16, and so now we're going to move on down to step 17, and we're going to take our uninterfaced side, lay it right sides together onto our interfaced cuff like I'm doing here. Be sure to press up, press under 5/8 of an inch on that uninterfaced cuff, and then you want to just go ahead and pin that all the way around. Be sure though to make sure you tuck in those ties so that you don't sew them. To eliminate some of the bulk, make sure that you trim off 1/4 of an inch of that 5/8 that we folded under on the uninterfaced cuff, aka facing. Trim off 1/4 of an inch of that, and then you want to stitch all the way around in a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. So as you can see here, I have everything turned out and pressed. So you want to go ahead and grab your sleeve, and with right sides together, we're going to go ahead and start to pin our cuff to our sleeve. Make sure you line up your notch and just pin all the way around like I'm doing here. After you have it pinned, you can go ahead and stitch it down. Once you have it stitched, do a good trim on it and then press the seam allowance down toward the cuff, and then you'll be able to fold the cuff over that folded edge. You'll be able to fold it over, and then you'll be able to do your slip stitching, or if you're going for a more casual look like I am, I just did a really nice top stitch right on my cuff. As you can see here, there's my top stitch that I decided to do instead of a slip stitch, but the choice is yours. You can slip stitch as they recommend, or you can do a top stitch, whichever you choose. Go ahead and fold down that seam allowance. Go ahead and pin in place and then close up your cuff, and then you'll be all done constructing your split sleeve. Now we just need to attach it to our dress. So go ahead and find the sleeve, match up your notches, make sure you are attaching the front of your sleeve to the front of your dress with right sides together. You want to go ahead and start at your side seams, your sleeve seam and the seam of your dress. Go ahead and pin those together first, then line up your notches. I did put a row of e-stitching in so I could pull up to fit my sleeve into my sleeve cap. So go ahead and do that, pin your sleeve in place, and once you're done pinning, you can go ahead and sew it around, and then go ahead and finish off your seam as I have done here with my serger. Now we have made it to the last step, which is our hem. For the hem of our dress, you're going to have to flip over in your pattern guide over to step 29. You need to just try on your dress, measure up how long you want your length to be. You can slip stitch it in place, or again stitch it with your machine however you see fit. Go ahead and finish up your dress, and that is the end of our Sew With Me video for Simplicity 8415.
So that is all for the Sew With Me video. Thank y'all so much for watching. I really do hope that you were successful at making your dress. If you have any questions, leave them for me below. I'll be more than happy to answer. Again, my fabric is a Rayon Challis, came from LA Finch Fabrics. And just to say a big thank you for supporting, for watching, for reading, for following along. If you use this discount code SewWithMe25, you will receive 25% off of this exact fabric. You're gonna love it, so go ahead and use that discount code. The offer ends September 1st, 2017, so make sure that you go ahead and order yours now. Again, the discount code is SewWithMe25. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Blessings, everyone. Bye.